Hey guys, it's that time of year again. I wanted to make something for the fall, and I think this will do the trick. This is a autumn hot milk bundt cake. Let's get started. In a small saucepan, I've got some milk, and I'm also going to melt some butter. This is where the name of this cake comes from. It's going to be hot milk, so this is going to go over medium heat, and I'm going to let this go slowly because I got to make the rest of the cake while this is heating up. And I'm going to preheat my oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. In a small bowl, I'm going to combine all my dry ingredients. I have all-purpose flour, and we're using a lot of it here because we got to fill up that bun pan. And I'm going to add some baking powder, not baking soda. I want to make sure that I make that very, very clear. Salt, and I'm also adding cinnamon. I'm going to whisk that all together, and you don't really have to mix all these because, well, they're going to end up in the same place in the end anyway. But with that, let's get started on our wet ingredients. In a separate bowl, I've got 4 eggs. I'm now adding all of my granulated sugar. I was thinking about using brown sugar here, but I want this cake to come out kind of fluffy, so I don't want the brown sugar to kind of weigh that down because of the molasses. And I'm going to take an electric mixer, or you can use a stand mixer for this, and I'm going to cream my sugar and my eggs together until they double in volume, which will take about 45 seconds to a minute. And this is looking pretty good, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to add my vanilla extract, and I'm going to add some lemon juice. Now, just to let you know, I only used a teaspoon of vanilla extract in this. I meant to add a tablespoon, so when you see that in the description box down below, please use a tablespoon, not a teaspoon. You'll get a better flavor that way. I also added all of my dry ingredients, and I'm going to take my electric mixer and continue mixing this up. And now, let's go check on our milk and butter mixture here. This is looking really good. I'm going to let that sit until it comes to a boil. Make sure it doesn't overflow because milk easily overflows when it's really, really hot. And while it is still hot, I'm going to pour this into my batter and immediately go back to mixing this up with your electric mixer. We do not want scrambled eggs. And once it appears that there's no lumps of flour or any butter floating to the top, you will see that you have a nice thinner batter. It's a little on the wet side, and that is okay. It's not going to be as thick as some other cake batters. I'm scraping down the sides of the bowl with my trusty green rubber spatula, and I'm just going to continue mixing this up because I just want to be sure that it's all combined well. And this is looking really, really good. So I think we're ready for the pan. Now, let's talk about the bundt pan. I want to emphasize this because I made a boo-boo, but make sure your pan is greased unbelievably well, because I thought I greased my pan pretty well, but I guess not well enough, and you'll see why later. After I poured in all of my batter, this went into a 325 degree Fahrenheit oven for 55 to 60 minutes. While that's in the oven, I'm going to make a glaze for the top of this. I'm taking some powdered sugar, ground nutmeg, some vanilla extract, and milk, and I'm just going to mix this up together. And this came out a little on the thin side, so as I was mixing, I was adding a little bit more powdered sugar as I went. So don't worry, all those measurements will be down in the description box down below, just so you make this the same way that I did, and I wanted it a little bit on the thicker side. And by the time this was done, my cake should be done. Okay, just kidding. It didn't take me an hour to make that glaze. But look, our cake is ready. Ta-da! And this looks and smells amazing. It rose beautifully. It looks very fluffy, and I can't wait to try this out. Now, I let this cool for about 15 minutes before I took it out of the pan. You might want to wait a little bit longer because this is a little bit bigger than your average cake. And yeah, I think that's my first mistake here, is that I tried taking it out of the pan while it was still too hot. And yeah, I was having some complications here. I think it was a combination of just being impatient and just not greasing my pan well enough. I was pretty stressed out, but I decided to just keep going because I think this cake was going to come out really good. And as you can see, I lost an entire chunk of the cake, but I tried to put it back together like a puzzle. I did my best to just make it look good. But yeah, like I said, I kept going. And I'm not going to be shy here. I'm going to show the cracks. And I'm going to do my best to cover it up with this glaze. And it did an okay job. Like I said, I was just more focused on the taste than the actual look of the cake. But again, I did my best here. And just learn from what I did and just make sure you grease your pan very, very well. And be super patient when you're waiting for it to cool off. I grated some fresh nutmeg over the glaze. And now it's time to get a slice out of here. And it smells really good. That strong nutmeg smell is just amazing. And I love that smell in the house this time of year. And this is looking fluffy as predicted. And how's the taste? Well, let's see. Moment of truth. Will it taste better than it looks? And final verdict. Yes, we are happy. Yay! This is actually a very delicious cake, and I do plan on making it again. Maybe in a different pan. Maybe at 13 by 9. That would work with this too. And if you do decide to make this in a 13 by 9, probably bake it for about 40 to 45 minutes. But yeah, that glaze on top is great. I love that nutmeg taste. The cinnamon is not over the top. The texture is absolutely wonderful. It's like eating a pillow. I'm glad that this story has a happy ending, so make this cake. You will not be disappointed. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.